There was a time when a young woman knew she had to leave him and eventually let go of it, all the poison that almost killed her. As she sat quietly amongst the potency of the blooming flower, she remembered it was her all along. Sure enough, in time, her arms turned into wings. It was one of those miraculous kind of days.
What if you took a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth? What if you softened the muscles in your face, around your eyes, around your mouth? What if you relaxed your jaw? What if you sat up just a little bit straighter? What if you relax your shoulders, letting them fall down just a little bit more? What if you pulled your shoulders back and your chest up? And what if you took a big breath in through the nose, really concentrating on filling up deep from your belly, letting it expand, expanding your rib cage, squeezing your heart center, and then exhaled all that stale air, all that negative energy and emotions. Let it flow right out of your mouth. And what if you relaxed just a little bit further, relaxing your stomach, your arms, your hands? What if you took another deep breath in and started to believe that everything was possible, that you were capable of anything you wanted to do, anything you wanted to be? And what if you exhaled any deep-rooted doubts and beliefs that tell you otherwise? What if?
When I think of light, I visualize a steadfast flame within our inner core, gentle and loving. Sometimes it goes on dim, but faithfully it never goes out. Call it your authentic self, your inner light Christ consciousness, your nature, your intuition, your higher power, or a frequency connection to your essence, a true being of who you are and what you were destined to be. It would become her quest from a vision she had to start her healing journey back to her roots at the beginning of her story, to look back towards the place where she became her, a spark formed inside her mother's womb. A spiritually charged valley where her father was born, tucked between the Okanagan and Skaha Lake, which moves south through Oliver to Osoyoos. This is Canada's only desert, at the northern tip of the Sonora, which begins in Mexico. The spirits of the Okanagan people are here, their whispers always calling and guiding, murmuring songs of truth and wisdom. They, her parents both gone now, her mother's ashes scattered in the lake amongst the rippling light, and her father's buried overlooking the desert by the speckled aspen lining the path. Their souls never die. They talk to her through nature, through the light, and in her art. They are always with her, in the mountains by the lake's edge, tucked in the depths of the green grass and the sagebrush, never to be forgotten. It would become her destiny to find the little inner spark, the child in her. She would surely give her the answers, how to help heal her family and uncover the parts that had been lost along the way. Because she's come to believe God brings us angels, an invitation to remind us of who we are and where we're going. It's when we're brave enough to connect back to the people and places where we feel most free. We rise to something more.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of For Sober Chicks. So, Danya Katrina, sometimes known as Danny in the recovery space, is a filmmaker, poet, writer, painter, and creator of the series The Lighthouse Projects, which is a documentary series focusing on leadership, transformation, and spiritual awareness. Some of her greatest inspiration comes from the places she's lived and studied, from quaint island cities to magical mountain towns. Danny's nature is to connect with the people and places where she feels most free. Danny believes when we surrender to what no longer serves us, we can open our hearts up to all the beautiful, wild possibilities in this life as we continue to seek out our own inner truth and we begin to make an impact with our stories and experiences.
Don't talk about emotions, and emotions fuel everything. All the labels we have for different, medical terms for mental health, of course that's relevant, but underneath that is layers of emotions. And so when we can show these younger people, these children, self-regulation tools from a young age, self-awareness tools, really help them get to know themselves on a deep level. Like, what are their values? Not what the schools told them, parents, families, community. Like, what are their values from within? What are their skills? What are their strengths? What do they enjoy doing? How do they learn? Talk about the love languages as well. That's another tool of really helping them to understand connection back with the earth and nature. So we bring a lot of language into the program around, grounding, getting back to the earth, respecting the land that we live on, community. Because without connection, everything's more difficult. I feel like I've been on a lifelong path of personal growth and healing in different ways. But it wasn't until they all hit teenage years that I realised just how important this work and these tools are. It helped me to be able to hold space. It helped me to take myself out of it, because, when we've got teenagers going through struggle, they can be vocal. We can feel like we're being attacked. I was certainly that mum at times. And when I did the work myself and I really tuned into the tools for me and them, I could hold space without trying to fix. I could just listen. And I dropped all the fears around what the ideal family and child should look like as well. It enabled me to drop a lot of mum guilt, which freed our relationship up. I feel like it's so important for them to get involved with their own healing journey, or at least just learn some tools, recognize their struggles, because from words from my own child is, you can't hear our pain if you're in your own pain. And so when we make space for ourselves, we're not taking personally what they're going through on.
She was radiating from all the soul care and starting to recognize those parts inside of herself that she loved. There you are, dear one. I've missed you.
They started making better choices and really working through things that they'd been struggling with on another level. So I'm really passionate about families being connected on a deeper level.
When she started to heal herself and helped others, it helped her leave a bigger gap for her own kids and her own family as well. So we all grew together.
It was the tender spots of her soft human skin that kept her locked tight in the cage with no escape. The layers of the loneliness, shame, and isolation slowly turned into glimmers of hope and motivation. As she let go of all the things, people, and places that no longer served her, the glass shattered. This release and newfound freedom gave her permission to forgive. Her arms then lifted above her heart, and she shouted, "I am."
When I think of the word breathe, I think of just stopping, pausing, taking a moment to just sit with yourself, think about what you want, disconnect from whatever situation you're in, and just ground yourself for a minute. When I was younger, I turned to singing through other people pressuring me into kind of more of the success side of it, wanting me to make money off of it. If you have a talent, you have to show it off. But now it's more just for me, and I can express my emotions through singing. Some things I can't necessarily get across through talking or writing down. I can find songs that help me deliver the message I want to.
How many times do I have to sit here just listening to my own voice in my ear, and all of the moments that I missed out? Did I think I was good enough to be around? But why am I still in this place? I'm trying to break the glass. I'm trying to break free, but I'm not me. I'm trying to reach the sun, but I can't barely breathe.
Surviving was what she did in the beginning, because the pieces of her were all scattered apart. The unblending and the uncovering in her kept her guessing and listening in between the spaces. She called this her gray. There was no right or wrong way. It just happened to be her way. Her own healing journey was patchworked together from bits and pieces, all divinely orchestrated to come just at the perfect time.
To be able to give them resources and skills that we wished that someone had taught to us at that age. It was unfortunate that a lot of the life skills that I've learned in my 40s and 50s. To be able to have those skills at a young age and apply those throughout life would have been invaluable. To understand that at any time through sound you can go back to that place, and that's invaluable. Environment is everything to me, absolutely everything. And so this is really what we aim to do, is to just arm these kids with as many life skills as they can, so they've got that in their tool belt. While in the sound healing, some of them weep and shed and release a lot of emotion, which I feel, just facilitates people to get in touch with their deeper feelings that they keep bottled up inside. And it almost like it shakes them loose and gives them a safe space to let that go. Understand what emotions they experience through sound.
clinically studied. It's been studied for well over 20 years. It was actually found years ago, and it helped with war veterans who'd been suffering with extreme PTSD. And they found the results of using EFT was amazing for calming the nervous system down. And it's something so simple. It's something we can all do. It's literally at the end of our fingertips. And it's something that the kids can do in class. There's different techniques we can use. We can use it through play. We can use it with parent and children, teacher and children. There's so much we can do with it. And it really helps connect us with the language we use, which is really important, the words that we speak. When we use EFT, we actually tap on different acupressure points. And the way I reference it is we're literally tapping these words in and out of our energetic field. How do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 before we begin? They'll recognize an area in their body, maybe their stomach, and feeling anxious. The number may be an 8, so that's pretty high. And just one round of tapping on the acupressure points and talking as we move the energy, we can go from 8 to 3 like that. It's very, very powerful.
Everything that came out of her mouth felt like crumbling dried weeds or soft blooming wildflowers picked from the side of a beautiful country road. Either way, they were always hers to choose. So, dear one, select your statements, phrases, and words wisely, especially the ones you say to yourself.
How does breathing help with anxiety and regulation of the body? Well, breathing is the ultimate circuit breaker. It helps you anchor into the present moment. It calms your nervous system and it creates space between you and your stress, the ultimate source of perspective. When you focus on your breath, you are sending a signal to your body that you are safe. It helps regulate your emotions, bringing you a sense of this beautiful peace and clarity. It's so simple. It's so inherent. We don't have to look for it. It is actually within us, and we can use it at any point to take control of our own mind and body when we choose to use it.
You can regain your power. And watching Danny do this session, it was so beautiful to be a part of. And we talked about it afterwards, and we've talked about it since. It was such a moment in her healing journey.
Her art was a pure sense of her essence. She created images in her mind's eye framed through her camera lens. She stole just a moment, but created a memory. The gift of vision always drew her back to the capture. What was once still on photographic paper now butterflied into motion. The stories seemed to jigsaw and connect together into meaningful messages. Still art, but something new.
Having a sister in photography allowed to do just different things, express myself in the ways I wanted to. Being home alone and being by myself, it did allow me to do things for myself and to really explore who I was and just really spending time with those creative people in my life.
For me, it starts with being and not doing. When we are stuck in a place of constantly doing, we are on someone else's agenda, we are following somebody else's dream or path, and we are not being true to our own nature. And so when you come back into being and you come back into balance, we just naturally are creative, and everybody has that creativity if they allow themselves to stop doing and step into being, no matter what it is, whether it's writing, drawing, painting, cooking, fishing. Anything can be creative if you allow yourself to come into balance with nature.
It was during the strawberry full moon of 2023 she would attend a painting party. The invitation planted a miraculous seed. Soon after, she would receive a gift of an ancient I Ching coloring book. As she began to fill the pages with her jar of colors, a mysterious cluster of wonder began to bloom. This stirred something deep inside her soul. Shortly after, she would find a little wool doll with brown hair wearing a robin's egg blue dress. At first, she planned to give the doll away, but soon realized it was her all along. The girl with the tiny bun atop her head was her inner child spark. She called her Danny. This propelled her into a full year of creative curiosity, an explosion of words, drawings, whimsical poetic stories of truth, a legacy gift to her daughters. As the art inside of her took flight, she added touch, breath, prayer, and sound rituals into her routine. Guided by her creator, she was determined to reclaim her power back. She started to transform her life and began to witness an undeniable healing. The yellow in her started to create a ripple effect, because she, who she is now, vulnerable and revealing, is twice as beautiful. She is you.
When we go through this systematic uncovering and burning off of these programmed layers, we get back to our essence, we get back to our inherent self. And it's from that position, it's from that foundation of self that truly allows us to do anything that we want to in life. It allows us to harness all of the happiness, all of the love, all of the magic that the world, that the universe has to offer.
When I first met Danya, I was blown away at the confidence, the power, the creativity just oozed out of Danya. She was that girl that everybody wanted to be friends with, and I felt that she was probably one of the most supportive women that I had ever met in my life. And I felt really honored to be in her circle of friends. I felt we did go through a period where we didn't see each other, and I think as women it's important to hold space for each other. I felt that we both had some periods of growth we were going through. We both were very dedicated moms, and so we spent a lot of time nourishing and feeding our families and not as much time with our friendships. It's a hard period for a lot of women. And I think the most important thing is to remember to stay in a place of grace.
Once she surrendered, the lesson was revealed and the path was lit. She then freely let go with complete acceptance. As she floated into the sky, her face bloomed into a flower.
Environment and atmosphere is everything. And this is, to me, what helps facilitate a beautiful healing experience.
Our environments have a direct impact on us, and they will either aid in our personal growth or hinder our personal growth. In terms of always being surrounded by clutter, you're going to be directly impacted by that and feel that internally. If we are in harmony within ourselves and in alignment, then we are going to feel light, happy, joyful within our homes. And that's bringing through your favorite colors, your favorite textures, artwork, personal decor, and really honing in on that feeling that you want to be surrounded by.
Getting out of that and seeing it from a different perspective really helped shift it. So when I got a new room and I looked at all the filth that had built up over years, it really impacted like from an inside view. And so I was able to kind of restart and just clear my mind a little bit and my space.
And so joy And once we really learn how to tap into our inner joy, it makes the yeses really clear and the nos really clear. So I just say, follow the yeses, and the nos are a sign that this isn't for you. Not at this time, maybe later.
Through the years, she captured everyone else's beautiful stories, memories printed on film, sometimes moving in motion. She who hid behind her own camera, a lens that mirrored reflections back that she could no longer deny. This brought her to a park called Springfield, where the leaves were turning yellow and a girl with a golden ponytail passed her on the path. She reminded her of when she felt most free from the roots of the tree that protected her for a while. She stopped the girl to tell her about her story, a story of truth. And then she prayed, I can't do this alone any longer. And they would come one by one, lighting the path, leading her back home. Finally, she gets really brave and burns down all the destruction causing her pain. Like a wild forest fire that creates a vast clearing for new growth, she begins once again. As each new seedling is planted, she rises from the ashes and shakes off the dark soot from her soiled wings. She is now the phoenix rising in all her great glory, standing proudly by her little lighthouses who help lead the way home.
Something to reach for, something just out of touch, but you know it's there. When she started doing this work, she then realized what impact she had made on us previously, and she worked to shift that, because our home wasn't the best place to be. There was a lot of arguing, but when she started to heal herself and helped others, it helped her leave a bigger gap for her own kids and her own family as well. So we all grew together.
Just like that, what she thought was her greatest weakness suddenly became her most precious teacher. There she goes, one step at a time. With each breath forward, she started to see more clearly. This was the moment she grabbed hold of her brave. She remembered the letters with the sealed hearts, the words that held her dreams. It was the truth and the pure artistry in her creative heart that kept her moving forward, one step at a time.
Being brave to me is stepping out of your comfort zone, not being afraid to be truly you and doing what you want to be.
I'm trying to tell myself that I can live my dreams. I'll have to break past my capacity. I'm trying to break free, but I'm not me. I'm trying to reach the sun, but I can barely breathe. I'm trying to reach the sun, but I can barely breathe.
As she opened the curtain, she could hear the birds singing and fluttering near the pink morning sunrise. She could see shapes in the clouds that sparked her creativity. She enjoyed how the sunshine warmed her soft skin. All these gifts, the chirping, the brightness, and the warmth, no longer seemed to feel so prickly. She had found a different way, and this was her new beginning.
The power lies within me. I am the healer. I need to heal myself. And I went within. I learned how to meditate. I learned energy healing. I learned EFT tapping. I called in a community of women, of support, friends, organizations. I learned journaling. I learned manifestation. All of these things brought me to where I am today. We have the power within us. And when we stop looking for what's wrong with us and we start looking for what's right, that's the paradigm shift that changed my life. I always felt broken. I always felt like something was wrong. And once I shifted that and I started looking for the things that were right, the things that were powerful, the things that were wonderful, we find what we're looking for. And it was such a pivotal moment in my life. So yes, EFT tapping has changed my life, along with meditation and breath work and sound healing and community.
It's all about listening to them because they know what they need. They know what they feel in their own body. I don't believe there's a master of any healing profession. Our job is to always guide our clients back to themselves and help them feel what they're feeling in their body because they know. And these children know. They know sometimes clearer than us adults because they haven't got all the years of stored emotions and traumas on top. So it's so important to let the client come back to them because they feel empowered. They then start to trust themselves more. They make better decisions.
Dani and her ripple effect. The ripple effect is real. When you start to show up for yourself and you start to care for yourself in really meaningful ways, mind, body, and spirit, your capacity to care for others and to show people what's possible increases exponentially. Because when you love yourself, then you can give love more freely. You can really expand that to everyone around you. You have more compassion, you have more patience, you have more understanding. You have a different lens for where the other person is at. And that is literally the ripple effect in action. It's one of the most significant gifts that we can give ourselves.
For it was her own nourishing tears that exposed the yellow, a gentle beckoning that gave her grief a voice. Tendrils of her steady beating heart grounded her. Up through the jagged cracks she goes. With this newfound hopeful beat, a tapestry made of mysterious curiosity, the knowing is revealed, a certainty to follow the clues. Finally, the gray becomes a place of serenity and simplicity. Sealed with a kiss of golden gratitude, she stays close to those that feel like sunshine. Her soul whispers, "Be still, my girl. Let the body talk. Listen and just breathe. Don't let that poison tempt you back." So she rested in her trust. This was her urge to action, a call to remember. Rest gently in the warm. Baby steps you were made to create.
Some people are not willing or at that time ready to delve right into the piece where they feel the most shame. There's layers. But once we get under some of those layers and the trust is built and the client is ready and they're in surrender, it can be very, very quick. And a lot of physical illness is fed by emotions that are stored in the body. But I believe emotionally at the core, when we shift that out, that's how we can release the trauma. And then we can even hear our own inner knowing of what foods our body does need to heal. What else do we need to bring in? What mindset routines? What exercise suits me right now? So we really start to hear ourselves so much more clearly when we've emptied some of our emotional pot.
Well, that leads me into alignment then, and integrity, right? So when our body's in alignment and we have integrity with ourselves, being our true selves, I think that's when we start to become whole again. She knows life is a wild force of energy to tune into and interact with. Push and pull, she lets go of the firm grip. It's no longer her against the world. She is open to what life has to say. This is her free agency. She trusts everything is gracefully coming towards her, meeting her just as it should, where she is now. This is the divine working in its perfect time. Imagine a place where we can move forward together, learning from one another, rooting for her rise, finding ways to align us into our authentic truth, our highest energy vibration. We trust our inner knowing, the messages from God, from nature, our dreams, and the angels that are always guiding us home. As we start listening and pay attention to the signs, we give ourselves grace in the process. We honor the messy and celebrate the victories. We get inspired and curious and look for the art in her. She's always talking, ever changing, forever expanding. So we listen and embrace the voice that stirs up something miraculous inside, a feeling like a warm lantern, a light that never goes out. Little by little, one step forward, 2 steps back, baby steps. The cocoon starts to crumble, and the butterfly begins to fly. It all starts with a breath, an opportunity to begin again, to pause, to reflect, to be grateful for our blessings, create our own hero's journey. Back to the table, hearing the voices from our ancestors, engaging in conversations that matter, she taps into the spark that never dies, the little Danny inside of you, waiting to begin.
How many times do I have to sit here just listening to my own voice in my ear? All of the moments that I missed out, didn't think I was good enough to be around. But why am I still in this place? I'm trying to break the glass. I'm trying